Kanu now! Free Nnamdi Kanu now! Free Nnamdi Kanu now! Free Nnamdi Kanu now! Free Nnamdi Kanu now!
What are we saying?
Free Nnamdi Kanu now! Free Nnamdi Kanu now! Free Nnamdi Kanu now!
Wow! I pass it here.
Free Nnamdi Kanu now!
Hello, and welcome to the AfricanNews Now channel. If you're watching this, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your network, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the relevant and important updates we bring you. We'd also love to hear your views. Drop a respectful comment below and engage with this topic because your voice matters here. Disclaimer: the content in this video is for informational and educational purposes only. The views expressed are those of the speakers being quoted and do not constitute legal advice or official findings. We encourage viewers to verify facts independently and to form their own informed opinions. Today, we turn our focus to a deeply significant matter: the detention of Nnamdi Kanu and the claim made by Omoyele Sowore that the Court of Appeal ordered his release in 2022.
Attacks by the Nigerian police, so I haven't done anything else to it than just protest, and we also ended up at the FCT command of Nigerian police to get some of the lawyers, because Nnamdi Kanu's main lawyer was arrested, and lawyer Jima, because his younger brother was arrested, and 11 others. We went to see them, and they gave us a hope, false hope, that they'll be released tonight, but we found out on our way here that they'll be moved to the place they call Abattoir, which is one of the reasons why there was NSAS in 2020. It's a major torture chamber of the Nigerian police. So they also tear gas us right in front of their office this evening.
So more than 7 years in detention, almost a decade in fact, and he's still not been found guilty of any crime. And your contention is that in line with the Nigerian constitution, which says that a man is innocent until proven guilty and which calls for the speedy dispensation of justice, it's time to set this captive free. Is that a fair assessment and the reason you led today's protest?
Yes, it is because also the Court of Appeal in 2022 did take a decision, a decisive decision, that having been extraordinarily renditioned from Kenya, kidnapped is the other word for it, there are no charges that can hold in that court, and he was asked to be released. That judgment ought to have taken effect immediately was given, but the Nigerian government did not honor that judgment. They claimed they were going on appeal. An appeal does not constitute a stay when personal liberty is involved. He's been discharged. There's nothing that could have held him except to get a brand new detention order, which they didn't, because they were not interested in any trial. They were interested in subduing and subjugating Nnamdi Kanu for committing a crime against the real estate called Nigeria, which is to say, look, we may want to think about our own country, considering that this country has no respect for our dignity, our culture, and our safety. So I have laid this out before, and I have also looked at the case notes. I worked with the lawyers. I am in a position to tell you when I see a useless case, because I get charged severally for this kind of frivolous cases. Nnamdi Kanu is not being held for committing terrorism. No, it's being held because he is an Igbo man who wants Nigeria to either allow justice to the Igbo man or let the Igbo man be. That is the crime Nnamdi Kanu committed. It's a crime committed with a microphone, not an AK-47.
Right.
A judgment which, according to Sowore, was never honored by the Nigerian government. Sowore stated that the Court of Appeal in 2022 asked that Nnamdi Kanu be released and that the judgment ought to have taken effect immediately, but the Nigerian government did not honor it. This raises a critical question. If a Court of Appeal issues a binding order for release, should that order not take immediate legal effect? What happens when it does not? Are institutional safeguards in place to ensure that the rule of law is upheld even when it challenges political interests? The claim of non-compliance by the government is alarming. Reports indicate that despite this alleged appellate court order, Kanu remains in detention, and the government has argued that other legal processes or appeals justify his continued detention. In a democratic system that professes to uphold the rule of law, how do we understand the gap between judicial pronouncements and executive action? What message does it send to citizens when court rulings are ignored or delayed? Does it strengthen or weaken public confidence in justice? Sowore frames this matter not just as a legal irregularity, but as a question of human rights, ethnic equity, and political accountability. He argues that Kanu's continued detention, despite the supposed court order, symbolizes a state that selectively applies justice and fails to respect judicial authority. When one person's liberty is delayed despite a court's ruling, how should society respond? What precedent does it set for other Nigerians who may not have the same visibility or influence? If the system fails one, could it fail all? Kanu's supporters, alongside Sowore, have organized Free Nnamdi Kanu protests because they believe the legal route has been exhausted or deliberately stalled. Citizens are taking to the streets to demand compliance with the court's order. But this raises another crucial question. When is it appropriate for citizens to protest in defense of justice? And when does such activism risk being branded as rebellion? Is protest still a legitimate tool when the courts appear powerless to enforce their own decisions? The case also touches the heart of Nigeria's unity. Nnamdi Kanu leads the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, a movement that represents long-standing grievances from Nigeria's southeast. When judicial decisions appear selectively enforced, it deepens feelings of marginalization and fuels distrust between the government and the governed. How does such a situation affect national cohesion? Can a country truly unite when justice seems to depend on who you are or where you come from? The situation surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's detention, the 2022 Court of Appeal order, as cited by Sowore, and the government's alleged refusal to comply raise fundamental issues about the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, and trust in state institutions. This is not just about one man. It is about what kind of country Nigeria wants to be. If a court order can be ignored, what hope remains for ordinary citizens seeking justice? When the law becomes subject to power, democracy begins to erode. We invite you to share your thoughts. Do you believe the court order was valid and binding? Should the government have complied immediately? And what does this say about Nigeria's commitment to justice and equality? Drop your comments below respectfully, and let's hear your voice. Thank you for watching the African News Now channel. Stay tuned, stay informed, and subscribe for more stories that matter to Africa and the world.